Good morning and welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about all things having to do with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, and his beautiful wife, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. So I'm just taking a walk and look what I saw. I saw signs of spring already. It's February. Look at that. Can you see that this tree is getting some white blossoms? How can that be possible? Look, there's another one over there with some white on it. You probably can't even see it. It's amazing. Ah, these are the first ones. There's another one down there with some blossoms. Anyway, so how are you, my darlings? I hope you are doing well, and that you are living and letting live, and thinking good thoughts, and just practicing brotherly and sisterly love in this world, right? We got to change our world for the better. You know what I'm saying? We got to do it one by one. And we have to support Harry and Meghan as well. But anyway, thanks for stopping by today. Good morning once again. How are you this morning? I hope great. So I'm in the middle of having my coffee, and I just powered up my computer to see what is going on in Meghan and Harry land, or Harry and Meghan land. And so what have we got here now? Why exit page de croissant? So we have this story. Mais pourquoi ça fonctionne pas? Ça fonctionne pas, hein? Mais ça fonctionne pas! Pourquoi ça fait comme ça? Oh, putain. Sorry, I just said a bad word in French. I didn't want to learn bad words in French, but why doesn't this work? I didn't want to learn bad words in French because I already have such a big problem with bad words in English. But unfortunately, everybody knows the words and they told me. And so now I sometimes say it. Okay, so what is this? Like, why is this doing this? Like, I mean, just as soon as I begin the video, it does this. And I'm like, how do I get this off? Okay. Jesus Christ. Honestly, this doesn't work. It's like the cursor doesn't move. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, now it's moving. Okay, so so I was looking at the the what is it called in English? The headlines in for today about the royal family. Why is this bouncing around? What? Honestly, it's too early in the morning. It's too early. You have no idea just how maddening this is right now. You see that rolling blue thing there? It's been rolling for a while. And I'm at my wit's end, darlings. I'm at my wit's end. Ooh la la. Okay, so King Charles apparently was out yesterday and doing a walker bout or walk around, whatever you call it. And he was bombarded by signs which basically were by anti-monarchists, a bunch of protesters, and they were holding these bright yellow signs when he arrived in Milton Keynes. Keynesian economics or something like that. There was something like that. I remembered from my old days. Isn't that interesting? There was something that Milton Keynes, he was an economist, wasn't he? But anyway, don't quote me on that. I don't remember. But so he was out, King Charles, and apparently there were all these hecklers and basically saying not my king, which is interesting because, I am not aware of any time in history during my lifetime, but I could be wrong. I haven't really been following the royal family as closely as I do now. mean, I've always loved them, but I've never really followed to this extent. Um, so I wonder whether during her lifetime, whether Queen Elizabeth, so yeah, I was just saying whether Queen Elizabeth had to face any sort of like not my queen protests. And because it seems like to me a new phenomenon, but I could be wrong. It seems that because it seems like he King Charles III has gotten quite a few of these types of protests since he became king late last year. And because it seems so unusual as compared to his predecessor, his mom, Queen Elizabeth II, who never got those types of protests, I wonder whether this is something that he needs to worry about, especially for the coronation, whether there's going to be a large scale um, protest, that because there's a group called the Republicans apparently, and they plan on protesting. And just late last year he also was greeted by protesters who threw eggs at him and Camilla, and now they are showing up and doing this, and they have said that they are going to protest at the coronation. And yeah, I really worry about that. And for me, that's almost another reason why Meghan and Harry should not go. But you know what I was thinking this morning is that just based on some of the headlines I was seeing with, the usual suspects, I wonder whether, because apparently has Harry has requested a meeting prior to the coronation, and according to some press reports, and we can't always trust those, his father has said he's too busy in the week before the coronation to meet with his son. And this bothers me because given the context, given everything else that has occurred, not just the very recent spare publication, but the whole thing, the whole thing. And my father loves me and wants to reconcile with me and to bring me back into the family, to the point that he extends an invitation to his once in a lifetime coronation. It means that he still loves me and he wants me back in the family, right? And it's not just a PR publicity stunt, right? Because if the invitation is just a PR publicity stunt, and that's all it is, an empty, meaningless PR publicity stunt, so that everybody can take a look at Meghan and Harry and, boo or not boo, whatever. They can have their photo ops. His coronation went down as this historic event. If that's all it is, then my position is, what in the name of God are Harry and Meghan going to put themselves in this position for? Right? I mean, in other words, is this a family or is this a business? Is it only a business? Because if you really want to reconcile with your family, quite frankly, you should be doing this in private first. And then you bring it to the public to show your reconciliation. You don't just invite your son and his wife and their children to come to a public event, but you have no time to see them. There's something fundamentally rotten about that, in my opinion, if indeed these media reports are true. And in their place, if I were in Harry and Meghan's place, I quite simply would not get involved. I would tell my father, look, I mean, sometime after the frenzy of your coronation, if you're saying that before the coronation, you can't meet with myself and my wife, to speak, to try to reconcile as a family. If you're saying that you have no time for that because you're so busy with the business aspect of your life, then might I respectfully suggest a later date after the coronation where my wife and I and the rest of the family can meet with you in private. Because indeed, we're only interested at this point in our private relationship with you as my father and my wife's father-in-law and as my children's grandfather. That's what needs to be healed. And we're not interested in being part of a public spectacle if that's all this is about, so that everybody gets their photo op, everybody gets their booze, everybody gets to criticize my wife for whatever she does or does not do on the day. The press makes out like a bandit. Everybody gets their clicks. Everybody gets their content on social media. But what about my wife and I and how we feel inside of ourselves, our souls, our psyches, etc., right? This is what I would say respectfully to my father, because if he's going to tell me that he can't meet with me, he's so busy. Busy doing what? I mean, with all due respect, he doesn't even file his own fingernails, okay? He has an aide probably to blow his own nose. I say this with all due respect. He does nothing for himself. And the notion that he's so busy a week before, he's not doing a darn thing. Trust me. All of the aides in the palace will be frenziedly taking care of all the last minute preparations, and all he and Camilla have to do is get pampered, get their massages, get their facials, get their beauty naps, and just show up on the day. Okay? So he has time to meet with his son if he wants to meet with his son. After all, he is the king and the buck stops with him. And he can tell his aides if they are interlopers and if they're trying to prevent him from seeing his son, he can tell them what to do, where to go, and how to get there in a jiffy if that's his desire and that's his wish. Okay? Because his wishes are their commands. And if he wants to see his son privately before the coronation, believe me, it's at a snap of his pinky and it will happen. And what bothers me even more when I read the ending pages of Harry's book, and Harry confirmed that it was his father who said that Meghan was not supposed to come to Balmoral when the Queen died. Don't bring her here. What? And then to have his press write stories that Meghan was so disrespectful to the Queen that she didn't go to Balmoral, right? This is King Charles who stopped Meghan from going at an event like this. It raises a lot of questions in my mind. For example, did Queen Elizabeth also hate Meghan? Because if Charles knew that his mother liked Meghan a lot, he would never have stopped her from coming to pay her last respects in this way. So this must have been some kind of order from the top before she even died. Don't bring her near me. In that case, why would Meghan go to this event? Honestly, why? I wouldn't go to this event. And quite frankly, even though I said I would let my husband go, at this point, now I'm leaning against it. He can't go. There's no way he can go under these conditions. He can make a plan with his father at the earliest convenience of his father for him and his family to go see his father shortly after the coronation, if that's the only time he can see his father. And he can then congratulate his father. He can present his father with a gift, okay, and his father's wife, right? Because Harry has full respect for them, okay? And his wife will be there, and his father can hug the grandchildren. And if he's allowed to take a photo, he's allowed to take a photo. And if he's not allowed to take a photo, he's not allowed to take a photo, okay? But the coronation is out, and it looks like it's going to be a circus. I mean, look at this, not my king. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a circus. I hate to say it because, you know, I've not been like a hypocrite. I've said that I'm not a monarchist. I mean, I'm not a monarchist, but I would never do this. I would never go in public, not my king. You know, no, it's not that bad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just don't understand the concept of kings and queens in the sense of like, what are you talking about? This is a historical, you know, artifact. You know, this is the old days, you know. I mean, nobody's superior to anybody, you know, genuflecting and curtsying to people, calling them his and her royal highness. Just, you know, being born and your like divine right to just, you know, all of the country's wealth, etc. No, I completely don't understand that, but I'm not going to go so far in the street, oh, not my king. But there are many people in England who seem to be ready to do exactly that. And I think that this coronation probably is going to be a bit of a circus. And they all want a scapegoat. And believe me, that's going to be Meghan if she goes anywhere near it. So, again, I respect whatever Meghan and Harry decide to do. And, you know, I support them. You know, I'll report on whatever they're doing if I can. But, you know, my 2 cents in here in this situation is don't go anywhere near it. But publicly, you know, if necessary, you know, make it known that you want to see your dad and you want to make an appointment with him at his earliest convenience to congratulate him privately. I think it's better. I really think it's better. I really think it's better.